Well, today I'm going to take you on an adventure across Washington. Off we go. So it's been about a year since I started this channel, and I'm going to take you back to where I filmed the first episode. If you've watched since the beginning, I started this just because I needed an outlet, creative outlet, and then something to do because I was going to try sobriety. So it's been a year. Been sober the whole time, and that's been good. So maybe this episode we can talk a little bit about how the first year of YouTube went, and then also get to show you a little bit of Washington, because some of you might be here for the Alaska side of this channel, but I haven't really shown you too much Washington. And Washington's got some cool spots. It's not Alaska, but it's definitely got some different areas that have different terrain, and we're going to start on the eastern side of Washington. We're going to work our way, not all the way to the west side, but I'd say about maybe 2/3 of the way across Washington today. It's bridge down to 2 lanes. I don't like this at all. Not one little bit. This bridge is usually 4 lanes, but we got it down to 2. It is tight. The trailer, all these other semis. Lord. So where we're headed today is right around a town called Ellensburg, and we're going to go up to elk camp. My dad and some friends go elk hunting there every year. I think my dad's went elk hunting for something crazy like 45 years now, and he's never gotten an elk. So we refer to it more as camping now. He really enjoys going to that area, and it's kind of a middle ground between where he lives and his friends that go with him. They live on the west side, and the west side of Washington. And anyway, first couple years I went, I would buy a hunting license and a elk tag and all that stuff, and then a couple $100 for the licenses and tags, and then I realized there's a million people up there, and I'm never going to get anything, so I don't even buy a license anymore. I just go up there and hang out for a few days with everybody and visit. But it's a good time. Ellensburg is kind of, I wouldn't say it's in the middle of Washington. It's probably closer to the west side of Washington, where it's starting to get into the more treed areas. We live on the east side of Washington, so we'll go through kind of the central part, which is more sagebrush and wheat fields, agriculture type stuff, and that's kind of the area I grew up as a kid. Once we get to Ellensburg, we're going to go up this super steep hill, kind of up into a little bit of a mountain there, and then that's where we'll be setting up camp up there. You do have a bunch of windmills set up here as you get closer to Ellensburg. Some people hate windmills. Some people think they're the greatest thing ever. Some think they're ugly, which, you know, they are kind of ugly, but they are kind of fascinating, kind of different to see. It's when they're all going, it's kind of cool, but they do take away from the landscape for sure. But then again, the landscape out here is pretty barren. It's just sagebrush, so I don't know. So 1 year of YouTube, has it been worth it? I don't know. It's been different, and it's definitely different than what you expect. You know, it's just like anything. You go into things with huge expectations and hopes and dreams, and you think you know how things are going to go, and it definitely doesn't go that way. I think I've realized a lot of stuff doing it now for a year, and I think I'm going to change my ways about how I'm doing it from here on out. I put a lot of pressure on myself when I first started it. I was like, I'm going to put out a video every week, and you know, I want to have a certain amount of subscribers by this time, and whatever. And I also was doing some things where I wanted to raise some money for charity, and all those things. At the same time, I did that with a personal channel, and then I started my business channel on YouTube at the same time. So it's like I took on way too much at once. But it did help distract from, you know, drinking, which that was the main thing, is I wanted some kind of outlet and distraction to not get caught up in thinking about, oh, I should go have a beer with my friends, things like that. So that part helps. And I've enjoyed it. I think I've kind of just been phoning it in on some of the videos that I made to begin with, and not really paying attention to how good the audio is, how good the editing is, and I was more about just trying to get the actual video done and posted than worrying about quality. So I'm not going to have the best quality, because obviously I just started, but I'm just trying to get better. Also, I've talked about it before, I struggle so much talking to a camera, even if I'm by myself in the middle of nowhere. It's just so weird. And it's getting better. I'm starting to learn how to talk to it, make eye contact, things like that with the camera. It's just like, it's harder than you think. But as time goes on, it's getting better. I've realized I don't want to set up like skits or things like that. It's like I have an idea in my head, and I'll sit down and I'll try and talk it out, and it's just, it doesn't seem real when you plan something and take 2 edits to do it, things like that. I'd rather just kind of talk and then edit out all the crap, which I have had to edit out. You learn real quick that you make a lot of pauses. You say a lot. My is the words, you know. I say you know way too much. So it's hard to get through that and edit those out. And then watching yourself over and over and over after you've recorded and edited and then rewatched, it's kind of exhausting. You get sick of yourself. So I'm sure if there's people on YouTube I'm sure if there's people that do YouTube that are watching now can relate a lot. A couple other things I recently did is I got rid of all of my social media besides YouTube. No Instagram, no Facebook, none of that. I got rid of it 100% because it's so easy to get caught up in watching other people's stuff, and then before you know it, you're trying to record something the same way somebody else is doing it. That's not why I wanted to have a YouTube channel. I wanted to have a YouTube channel to, you know, get across my experiences, my life, my, you know, perspective on things, my struggles, my, you know, happy times, you know, different adventures. And it's like, I don't want to be influenced by other people. It's so easy to go down that route and try and make like clickbait type, you know, titles and clickbait thumbnails, and just, but I could see how people do it, because it's like, you make a video, you want to get it out to as many people as possible because you want to share your experiences, and it's hard to stay true and to stay focused on the way you want to do things and not follow. It's always good to see how other people do stuff and then take the good out of it, and then maybe that can help you grow and be better as a YouTuber or anything in life. But there's just so much negative stuff out there that it's like, I found myself on Instagram and it's just like, I had to open my Instagram. The first thing would be some kind of like fake news or just something weird, and it's like you're trying to sift through things and you can't figure out what's real. I mean, you can, but something's off. But before I know it, I'd be like reading comments about a stupid post for something I'm not even interested in, and then I'm reading people's comments and replies, and I'm like, why am I wasting my life looking at this crap when I can be, spending it doing something I like, or with somebody I like, instead of looking at a stupid phone. I say this as I ask you to watch this video. Well, here we are, a year later, almost to the day. I sat on that rock back there behind me. We'll use that as symbolism since it's behind me in the past. And told everybody I was going to try and be sober. So we're here a year later and I am still sober. Share a couple things about the last year that's been super hard, good, and all that stuff. I'm still out here in the middle of nowhere, and it's absolutely awkward talking to this camera, even though I can see for miles and know there's nobody around. But anyway, what's happened the last year? I got a lot of stuff done. Didn't go as never goes like you plan. You have a big dream in your head and you think it's going to go a certain way and it doesn't. But I can say I'm better off a year later than I was last year. I'm in a better place. There's been the struggles. You tell people that you got a drinking problem, you want to stop, and you're faced with different challenges. I've had friends and family members and things like that. I told them I wanted to quit drinking, and last year when I sent a text out to a lot of the people I cared about, I said I'm going to stop drinking, and I've had people, a couple months later, I walk into their house and the first thing they do is offer me a beer. After I kind of poured my heart out to them saying that I had a problem. Maybe they forgot, maybe not, but I've had other people have me ask them to pour them beers. I've went to dinner with people, and when they ask where you want to sit, they say, oh, let's sit at the bar. So it's a struggle, man. Like, you'd think that you pour your heart out to people and tell them you really want to quit, and then it's just like it's hard to stay on track when people don't really realize how hard it is for somebody. But in their defense, when I talked to them about it the first time or text them, I said I didn't want it to be what our relationships were about, and I didn't really want to mess with how they live their lives. But I just think, what would I do if somebody would have told me that? I probably would have tried to support them a little bit differently in certain situations. But for the most part, everybody's been really supportive. You know, I have some friends that have truly accepted it, and you know, you gotta, God, what am I trying to say, dude? You gotta excuse yourself from some situations, for sure. You know, I've had to make up excuses of why I can't go to certain things just because, you know, I know I'm not going to be comfortable there. If people are drinking, I'm going to want to drink. You know, you see these people say, oh, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. You know, I never go back. It, I don't think that's true. I think it's friggin' hard. I want to go have a beer with my buddies, but I know it's not going to be a beer with my buddies. It's going to be 3 beers, 4 beers, 5 beers with my buddies. So I can't do that. But definitely treating people better. I am managing my emotions better. Uh, it's pretty sweet to not have woken up with a hangover in over a year. So that part's pretty awesome. uh, what else we got? I don't know. This place is pretty cool. Like, I didn't notice this, but there down here at the bottom, there is a burnt up car or ATV down there. It's pretty crazy. I still think there's people watching me every time I record this stuff. Going, what the hell is this guy doing talking to a camera? Anyway, would I recommend it to everybody? Yeah, I think so. I think if you feel like you might drink too much, you should try and take a year off, because you're going to realize a lot of stuff. You're going to realize a lot of stuff about uh, the way you treat people, the way people treat you, the way people support you, and the way you should support others. So I'd recommend it. Do a year. And then if you want to drink after a year, drink. But I think I'm going to keep going. So I can't see any reasons not to. Anyway, this rock back here, that's called Lion's Rock. Um, you know, that's where I was at in my first video. It's a pretty neat area. It's really a bummer that it's so smoky every year. Because I remember coming here like 4 or 5 years ago. First time I think I came up to, you know, hang out and hunt with my dad and all those friends and stuff and family. And it's like, this was just, you could see so far when there's no smoke. So pretty. That's one other thing. It's like I'm up here, you know, at a hunting camp, and anybody that knows about a hunting camp, whenever guys go hunting, they like to sit around the campfire, drink beer, tell stories, and it's very hard. Like last night, I had to pretty much just retreat to my RV because, you know, everybody's starting to mix drinks and get rowdy and drink beers, and I'm sure people think that kind of asshole because I just up and left and went to bed. But you know, you got to excuse yourself from those situations if it's not, if you can't handle it. So I'm still not to a point where I can handle it, so those things are going to happen. I'm rambling, freaking rambling, dude. Man, I brought a microphone and everything so that my audio would be better, and then I forgot the cord that plugs this into the camera. Can't get it right. Sun's starting to shine though. When I left camp it was raining, so we'll call it a sign. Since I'm up here and it's sunny, things are getting better. There you go. He's back out of there.